That's right, geeks.
What a week it's been. So much to talk about.
Okay. Why? Because Baron Corbin.
Matt Damon.
I can't wrestle.
What? No, yes.
You look like a shoe. Are you done playing Tickle Butt, huh? You gullible geeks.
Welcome to the best pro wrestling podcast, you gullible geeks. Weeps. My name is Tommy Stryker. I'm the host of the show. Joining me is Taco.
What up, you geeps?
And Joe is here as well.
I'm kind of here.
We're all the geeps. We talk about the best pro wrestling in the world. Thanks for following the show, checking the show out, and doing the iTunes thing. Rate, review, and subscribe there and anywhere you listen to your podcasts. We record this show Tuesday night right after Smackdown as 205 Live is playing in the background. Mm-hmm. Just so you know, we might refer to weird things going on there randomly as we go
like
throughout
Neville's
the show.
third eye he's rocking on his forehead.
So there's that. But yeah, we got, Raw and Smackdown this week. What the hell happened? Those were some brutal shows.
It's like they're in the UK and they're just slapping something together and
wow.
entertaining the fans.
I mean, I don't remember the UK shows being this bad before, but I guess that's kind of been
they
the
never
thing.
really stuck out special to me either.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get the car in the phone booth this year. That was something I complained about last year. About every time they go to London, they got to put that junk on the stage. Well, they didn't do that, but boy, these were some stinkers, though.
Was this their first time in the O2 Arena though?
I think so. Well, I don't know if it was their first time, but
I felt like it could have been a bigger show for the arena that it was in.
Yeah, I guess it looked like they did well crowd-wise for both Raw and SmackDown. They just weren't that good of shows, especially SmackDown with all of the talking. My God. Well, anyway, we'll get to everything that happened on Raw and SmackDown. But we've got a lot of New Japan stuff to talk about, but not as much as we're going to have. Holy cow! Next week, starting after next week's show. We're going to have a lot of wrestling to watch because starting next Wednesday, the Best of the Super Juniors starts. So we'll talk about that a little bit here. I think we should fill out as much as we can. Let's fill out predictions for the tournament, and then
we can go win-loss record on that one.
Follow along and see how we each do. We've filled out brackets for the Cruiserweight Classic and the UK tournament before, so let's fill them out. Do predictions for this, and we'll talk about that a little bit on the show next week because we've got the full lineup for the Best of the Super Juniors. So we'll talk about that next week and go over the predictions and stuff like that. But starting next Wednesday with the Best of the Super Juniors starting, we got the Best of Super Juniors, which is an insane tournament that starts next Wednesday and goes through June 3rd. Mm-hmm. Crazy, matches basically every day to watch. But then also next weekend we've got an Evolve show in Chicago. Ooh. We have NXT in Chicago. Ooh. We have Backlash in Chicago. Ooh. Plus all the regular Monday night, Tuesday night stuff. 205 Live, you name it. NXT, whatever, plus the regular NXT.
And in the middle of all this, fucking Lucha Underground starts.
Lucha Underground is starting at the end of the month, too.
Busy summer.
So if Raw and SmackDown don't pick up their game, we might not be talking about them as some of the best pro wrestling, because it definitely wasn't really part of that discussion this week. All right, before we go any further, let's talk a little bit of the news of the week.
Pro wrestling news.
We have quite a bit of news for you.
I read today on The Observer that Sinclair, the parent company for Ring of Honor, has purchased Tribune Broadcasting.
So it's been official.
So they made the purchase today, and so I guess this might mean more big markets for Ring of Honor TV to appear in. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Well, I kind of looked into that other company because I don't even know what Sinclair does besides Ring of Honor, really, and that other company, they're big owners of WGN.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
Yep. So they got some ties there.
Strowman has got to have some elbow surgery, Braun Strowman, I should say, and sounds like he's going to be out for June, possibly July. So who knows what they're going to. So with the big Roman match coming up that was supposed to be for Extreme Rules that they've been building up to, the big hubbub of the attack from Monday, we can talk about that a little bit. But
I don't think it'll hinder anything too much. They've been fucking schooling each other, so it adds to the story, if anything, if they play their cards right.
It's just interesting because what do you do with Roman now at the next Raw pay-per-view, and they were building up Strowman for Brock Lesnar at the next big WWE pay-per-view that we know is coming in.
Balls of fire.
So they were building Strowman up for that, and now he might not even be back until that pay-per-view, or maybe even after, depending on
And do you
how
mean
long this thing.
who are they going to sacrifice to Roman Reigns?
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So, and then, yeah, so that'll be, and apparently Emma has a bit of an injury, too. We don't really know much about it. I guess
she flew home.
She was walking around with her arm in a sling. So,
Tough luck.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple of years for Emma. Hopefully this is just something minor and keeps her, maybe just out for a week or two. So, big news here. JR, Jim Ross, and Nigel McGuinness are going to be calling the UK show that's going to be on the WWE Network.
Awesome.
They did some tapings for that while they were in the UK this last week. That's supposed to debut this month. On the network. And then in other Jim Ross news, Access is expected to announce what their plans are to broadcast the G1 special on June 1st and 2nd. So this is very interesting. Jim Ross working for the two biggest wrestling companies in the world right now as far as calling matches. So sounds like it'll be kind of a minor thing with him doing the UK stuff, but it's still interesting. And then him doing the Access TV stuff. I really hope that those are going to be live on Access TV. It sounds like they're definitely going to be live on New Japan World, and it's going to be Kevin Kelly and Don Callis calling that action. So interesting that it's going to be available in two different places to watch. But I'm very curious to see how those Access TV shows do, and if they do some kind of big advertising campaign. Maybe advertising during Raw and SmackDown and stuff like that.
They have to play their cards right on this. They just released more tickets and instantly scooped up.
Yes, that was my other news item, is that they released standing room only tickets, and those were instantly gone. The original tickets for that G1 special were gone like within 20 minutes or something like that.
So they're riding on a good train right now. So yeah, they need it's great to have hopefully JR is doing a voice of it, because it's this perfect opportunity to kind of take advantage for WWE and New Japan to have that middleman to kind of bring attention to the UK crowd and the New Japan crowd.
Yeah. I just wish Morrow was available to do it too.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But we'll have to wait till after August for that, because I'm sure he'll end up being back doing the Access thing, especially. I mean, yeah, Jim Ross is there doing it, but what if they were doing it together? Do the three-man booth with Morrow, JR, and fucking Josh Barnett, because I really like Josh Barnett on the Access TV commentary.
Oh, he knows his shit, and he's clearly a big fan of it.
Yeah, and he brings like that knowledge of like that legitimacy of MMA, and he kind of brings that vibe into talking about pro wrestling. So with the new
technical aspects,
and with the New Japan style, it's really cool. So, all right, let's talk some Raw.
Damn it.
Monday Night Raw!
All right, I think we're gonna keep it quick this. Get out of here, News. My big fat fingers pushing too many buttons. Yeah. Boy, where do you start with this Raw? Yeah, a lot of tightest moments on this month, or on this Raw. Yeah, you got to get through it. So it started off with Ambrose on the phone saying that, okay, so we had Ambrose and Miz doing the co-GM stuff. Ambrose was okay. He was kind of entertaining during it, but then the stuff that they did during the show, it's the same shit. It doesn't make sense. They just do it to do it. So it is what it is. Miz versus Balor in the opening match. If Miz is co-GM, why is he even taking a match? But okay, whatever. You have the match. Miz gets DQ'd. Ambrose comes out and restarts it because co-general managers. Why can't Miz just not do it? Why can Ambrose just do it? Right? So it doesn't make any sense. Balor does get the win quickly after the restart, so at least the right guy won. A fun little match between Balor and Miz, at least.
All right.
I thought that Miz held his own in that match, at least in when he wasn't getting DQ'd. But it was just nice to see Miz work with a top shelf talent like that, wrestling wise.
Miz is the top shelf talent, Joe. Get
I don't
it
know.
right.
Doesn't he kind of wrestle
He
a
is
little
the
soft?
star of the WWE. Do you not see the movies that this man stars
I
in?
don't know. He's pretty soft.
Insecure Nia. I like Nia's new gimmick that it's just so dumb. She's supposed to be the monster, but she's coming up to Alexa Bliss and looking for reassurance. Like, hey, remember when you said I was great? Did you mean that? Like, look, fucking Insecure Nia now is on the is Alexa Bliss is the smallest person on the women's roster, by the way, who is the champion. Now Nia is her best friend because Nia is insecure. So she's Alexa Bliss's buddy out there. Then you had Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James. Yeah, I haven't said it yet this week. We try to keep it positive on this show. I try to talk about the things that we like. This match, the match itself was fine, but this finish was just so awful. They do the stupid distraction thing. Fucking Alexa Bliss just punches Mickie James, who's sitting on the top rope, and apparently we're supposed to like the people that get stupidly distracted by shenanigans at ringside. Right. It's Alexa Bliss wins with a punch, and that's it. A distraction and a punch. So, yeah.
Not much to work with there.
Yeah. So, Miz makes the main event or whatever, Ambrose versus Wyatt. That happened on the show. Let's talk about the main event. That was at least, I don't know, that was more nonsense too, because it was Sister Abigail for the win after the Miz comes out and hits him with the Intercontinental belt. Miz is obnoxious on commentary, but at least Michael Cole was kind of standing up for the babyface side of the argument, because there was fucking Booker T wasn't standing up for the babyface argument. That's not Corey Graves' job. So yeah, I don't know. At least Michael Cole was kind of doing that in the match. But I don't know. What did you think of the main event? Wyatt getting the win, more heat on the Ambrose and Miz thing for the IC title.
There's not much to really talk about in this Raw. I mean,
I'm telling you, I'm looking for. So what I did like at the beginning of the show, Strowman comes out and he's got the sling on. He says, I'm not done with Roman, but I got this injury, and I'm not finished with you. But he says he wants Lesnar, so I like him calling out Lesnar there. But then Kalisto comes out and says he wants revenge. I liked the Kalisto thing. I like Kalisto's fiery little promo.
I like his new music. I like his new look. He looks like a luchador now, not a fucking kid's toy.
Yeah, that's a good point. So they had the match. Now, what the fuck is going on here? So he comes out and Strowman's got the arm, the arm in the sling. He says, "No, I ain't doing no match." But then the ref rings the bell anyway. They have a little fight. Then Roman comes out. Kalisto just disappears. He's gone. They didn't ring the bell again. There was no signal that the match was over.
Do you want to get in between these guys?
But there is nothing there. There was just... So Roman apparently injures Strowman with the... He beats the shit out of Strowman. I'm sitting there looking at this, and okay, I'm supposed to. What the story that WWE is trying to tell? They're trying to get us to like Roman. And they have Roman come out and beat the shit out of Braun Strowman, who's in a sling. It's like all the sympathy goes to Strowman. So we all love Strowman, even though he's trying to be a heel. God bless him. He comes out and gets the cheap heat or whatever. So Roman's the biggest heel in the world, beats the shit out of Strowman, and apparently that's the injury angle or whatever. And maybe, I don't know, I didn't look too deep into the Strowman thing. I mean, it was on the Observer saying that the guy's got to have the surgery. So I trust that.
4 to 8
weeks.
But
it feels like an angle because they did the angle on Raw or whatever. So
they got to do it somehow.
Right. The other good thing from Monday Night Raw, the Goldust promo / pep talk to R-Truth. That was really good. That made me care about that tag team turmoil thing. And yeah, that was just fun. So I really enjoyed the promo that Goldust did with R-Truth, saying, this is our last chance. They talked about our win-loss record. We got to make an impact here. And then I liked the tag team turmoil match. Yep. I liked Cesaro and Sheamus running the table. Mm-hmm. We had the Golden Truth coming out at the end with the last one. They just win with the roll-up, the most devastating move in sports entertainment. So the Golden Truth looking a little strong in fact in this this opportunity. But I liked that. So, what did you think? I mean, what does it do to Slater and Rhino, Anderson and Gallows, even Enzo and Cass? What's your thoughts on the tag match and this whole situation?
I don't agree as much on the running the table aspect of it. I didn't want to see them just destroy everybody in the match, but I also have been really enjoying Cesaro and Sheamus like week after week, and even with the heel turn, I'm still enjoying the matches they put on.
Yeah.
So I think it's the best team for what they're going for right now.
The only reason I say that it was good for them to run the table is it really builds them up as an awesome, credible act. But what it doesn't do is it really makes Slater and Rhino look like punks. Same Anderson and Gallows. That really hurts them being the third team in. So, but it builds up, Cesaro and Sheamus of being that team, because it was their teamwork that led to that victory over Anderson and Gallows, with, him holding him up for the brogue or whatever. So there was that. Then the Rollins versus Samoa Joe match. I liked the match, and I thought the finish was unique. Rollins grabs the turnbuckle pad, and it comes off, and then the ref sees the exposed turnbuckle and says, "Don't you dare throw him into that." Right. He throws him into that and DQs him. So I liked that they did something a little bit different there, not the typical stuff. So and a fun, good back and forth between Joe and Rollins.
Yeah, this is a hell of a feud. I love these two fighting each other. They know each other really well and are able to just bounce off the back. Fuck it.
Afterwards, Joe chokes Rollins out, getting his heat back from the match or whatever, keeping his heat. Joe really dominated a big portion of the match, but Rollins looked good coming back and everything in that. So, Jack Gallagher versus T.J. Perkins. This was T.J. Perkins' test to see if Neville's going to continue.
I heard rumblings that he's just officially TJP now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard they dropped the name completely.
That's interesting. Neville says, beat Gallagher to earn your spot. At the beginning of the match, I like how they exchange gestures. Like he does TJP does the dab, Gallagher does the peace sign thing or whatever, and then Gallagher just hits the headbutt to start. After the match, TJP gets the win with a roll up and holding the tights, and then TJP attacks him after the match. Aries comes down for the save, and fans mega dab at ringside. So Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox was nothing. That was the crowd was distracted, didn't care about it.
Happened?
Sasha Banks won with the double knees. Yeah. Sasha Banks hits the double knees and covers Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox's shoulder is way up in the air, but the ref counts the 3 anyway. So look for more Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox.
Must have been the same ref for Samoa Joe's and Seth Rollins match.
All right, that's enough SmackDown. Let's talk Raw. Oh, now we got to get into SmackDown.
God damn it, dude.
SmackDown Live. Players, I'm going to make this a tag team match.
Yeah, this was definitely a holla holla playa episode of SmackDown. Yeah, talk about mailing it in.
Wow.
So much fucking talking on this show. Man alive. We're going to run through this thing pretty quick here.
So did they.
Yeah, it started off with a promo with everybody coming out, everybody that's in the main event. So 6 guys come out, do a bunch of talking. Who gives a shit? They do a little brawl, whatever. I like when Kevin Owens came out and says, "Just shut up, knock it off, you guys. Nobody cares about any of this." But then fucking 3 more guys come out.
Gotta get them all.
Guys just keep coming out. Corbin's coming out. And he's like, okay. Let's talk some more.
Okay.
This is where I say something.
Right, yeah. Zayn finally comes out and just attacks the guy. But anyway, AJ comes out at one point, so we get 6 guys out there. Holla holla, they make a main event for the show. The main event decent match, I thought. They gave it a lot of time. It's just the finish. Fucking Jinder goes over clean on Randy Orton. It's kind of what to be expected. They're building him up for the big title match at Backlash in 2 weeks. So it was what it was.
I was honestly all for this build up on Jinder. Let's shake it up a bit, see something new, but that fucking promo at the beginning of SmackDown was just bad. It felt like when he fucking first debuted in WWE, it's like, we going back in time with him? Like, the fuck are we doing?
And it's the same old crap with the cheap heat and the anti-patriotic heat.
The shit didn't work when he didn't have muscles. The shit didn't work when he was a manager for Kali. Fucking shit ain't working now.
Yeah. It doesn't work, and it's not working. It's not over. Nobody cares. Nobody likes it. So it's bad heat. He's got heat. People are booing him, but it's because he doesn't belong in the spot. I get it. You gotta have somebody lose to Orton. I get it. It's it's Backlash or the pay-per-view after WrestleMania for SmackDown. You got to have somebody lose.
I look at someone like Sheamus from back in the day. Like we got that pay-per-view when he faced John Cena in a tables match for the championship. We didn't think he was going to fucking win it, but it was like tables match, man. This is how he's going to win. And look at his career since that day. Multi-time champion, fucking winning this, winning that. So he established himself. So I do hope Jinder can have that kind of thing, but at the same time, he wasn't really coming out like, I'm Irish, I'm better than you stupid fucking Americans. My Irish people are better than... They weren't doing none of that shit.
Yeah.
Fucking...
Okay.
I'm loving Dabari's new gimmick, though.
Yeah, dude.
It's almost in the same sense. He's just the rich prick.
Yeah, and I haven't seen too much of it yet, but from what I've seen on his Twitter account, it feels like he's doing it right.
Yeah,
even though it is
just
more
said, this is a $1,500 shirt from Dubai, and he's not saying, well, he's up and face to face to Tozawa right now, but he's not. He's not, saying like, my people are better than you. It's like, no, I'm rich. I'm better than you.
He's just being who he is,
exactly,
but being rich heat. So, there's a difference there. And maybe Jinder could learn something from it. So we talk about all the talking that they do in the opening segment. Then the women come out for a one-on-one match. But
can we get all of them?
But they get all of them. Like, for some reason, the welcoming committee have to introduce Natalya. And then Naomi has to come out and introduce Becky Lynch. Then Charlotte comes out and says, I don't need an introduction, but I'm going to talk anyway for some reason. So they do all that. Then they go to commercial. They finally come back. They get to the first match of the show at the 28-minute mark. So we're a half hour into the show before the first match even takes place. Ugh. So Natalya gets the win with another bad finish, another babyface woman getting distracted with shenanigans at ringside. At least she pulled her off the top rope. It wasn't just a measly punch. Natalya pulled her off and actually bumped her on the ground and got the win. But it was still weak. It still made Lynch look like an idiot, made Lynch look like a bad wrestler. So we'll get a big 6-woman tag, I'm sure, next week.
I feel like she kind of made up for that, though, in that backstage segment they had, though.
That's true. She did pep talk.
She came storming with full of fire, and with Charlotte and fucking Naomi, ratting each other, and, she said, we can't keep doing this shit. They teamed up. We're looking like fucking fools. So I feel like they did cover themselves up on that one.
Yeah, that was a little bit better. And Charlotte, that made a little more sense too with the backstage stuff. Like, she was a little too smiley, happy babyface at ringside during the live segment. But the thing backstage, she came off a little bit more like the heel Charlotte that we all know. Even though it looks like they're definitely going in the babyface direction, or at least she's okay with being on Naomi and Becky Lynch's side at this time, but she still has a very high opinion of herself.
I thought the commentators did a good job on this too, because it was really awkward when Charlotte ripped Naomi off, and started dragging her away from the ring, and was like, "What the fuck you doing right now, bitch?" And the commentator, I forgot which one said it, but he was just like, "Oh, she doesn't want her to lose the match due to disqualification or interference." So it's like, good save there, because that makes sense.
All right, some good stuff from SmackDown. The Fashion Files.
Yes,
this was very good. The what do they call it? The London
London Special Unit.
Yeah, that's right. So the Breezango are investigating the face paint that they found. They think it might belong to the Usos. This was hilarious. Fucking
lead paint.
Lead. He tastes it to discover that it's lead paint. Then they got the little police tape up there, and they just walk. Fandango walks right through. Just no sells that he's knocking the tape over. Doesn't give a fuck.
Clinton dicks.
Tazawa's on the screen.
Don't forget this fucking week. Yeah, we forgot last week.
We did. It's the first week in many, many, many weeks that we miss.
I think we made up for. Well, I thought you were talking about the Tazawa shout. So
no,
nobody cares about that.
Okay. I don't think anybody cares about Clinton Dix either, to be honest.
Oh, they do.
The Ascension are the team that they discovered who are just getting hyped in a closet, which they're just yelling at each other, getting hype in a closet.
Let the girl go.
But they're trying to get into the closet. They're entering the code. That doesn't work. He tries kicking it down. Then he just finally opens the knob. So the fucking.
Don't forget that they were in the Foggy Apple.
The Foggy Apple, yes. And then. Breeze is like, I'm getting too old for this shirt, which is a perfect line for someone in the fashion police to say. You couldn't think of a more appropriate
highlight of the night.
Very good. Eric Rowan beat Luke Harper with a spinning backwards slam after an eye poke. Eric Rowan is in love and enamored with his mask. Moving on. Ziggler heals. He says, we never cared. He says, I'm the strongest. He calls out Nakamura. He says Nakamura hasn't even had one match on SmackDown Live. The crowd chants NXT, because he's actually had matches there. I do have a bit of an opinion on this. Ziggler, I feel like it's a bad idea pointing out the fact that he hasn't had a match yet, because that's where the heat is here. I'm upset that he hasn't had a fucking match yet.
Well, he I don't know, he kind of fucking called out, too, the WWE editing the crowd. I mean, Raw and SmackDown was edited, just the crowd-wise. They seemed quieter, than normal. Like reading online, like, there's been a few mixed reports, but it's been mostly the crowd's like, no, they were fucking crazy and loud.
And the audio was all over the place on these shows.
Definitely
it was
weird, and you could definitely tell, Ziggler called that out. He's like, oh, they're going to edit this out. So, I don't know, he just seems like he doesn't give a fuck right now. It's like there's such a prime opportunity right now for him to kind of revamp his career. You got, the show-off against fucking Nakamura. There's a story to be told right there, but instead you got fucking whiny Ziggler.
Well, and the other thing, too, for me is like the Nakamura kind of issue that came up on NXT for you, Taco. It's like there was these long stretches where he was just gone and not wrestling. And to me, that seems like that kind of ruined a little bit of Nakamura for you, or just kind of took some of the shine off?
It's just, he's definitely one of those guys, watching in New Japan. I definitely had that thought. I was like, man, he would be cool in WWE. Never going to see something like that. And it happened.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, fuck, what is he going to do in WWE? Hope they don't ruin this. And he had a fun run in NXT, but honestly, it was nothing special. Bo Dallas's run as the champion sticks out more than me. It was just something unique there. Nakamura's wasn't that unique, and they tried to make it something unique.
Well, and he was always selling injuries, whether they were legit or not.
I mean, to try to make Samoa Joe look strong, he doesn't need that. He already looks like a fucking monster.
And again, what gets Nakamura over, the entrance is cool, his mannerisms are cool, even the way he speaks with a mouthpiece in is kind of cool. The English enhancer, as I call it now, the mouthpiece as Nakamura speaks. But what gets Nakamura over is him wrestling and doing all this other shit with it. So fortunately, the crowds are with it, they're behind him, so that's a good sign. But I'm just worried that they're just waiting too long. I mean, we got next week's SmackDown, and then finally Backlash next week, the weekend after.
I don't know. I feel like fucking Backlash is already weak. I mean, the commercial's already advertising, the debut of Nakamura. Well, why is the match being announced today on SmackDown. How come this wasn't a big thing since maybe week 2? Your debut is going to be Backlash and start that feud.
Because they didn't want the fans thinking, shit, we got to wait a month for Nakamura to wrestle. They wanted to stretch it. Well, today was the confrontation between Ziggler and not a match yet.
Like you said, they changed the word.
Yep.
So maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get a squash match next week. But I don't think, because I think they said, did they say that he's going to debut?
I feel like the advertisement was like the big debut of,
and that's been the big their campaign or whatever. Their little ads that they've been playing for Backlash have been all Nakamura all over them. So,
and I know you say, Joe, that his English isn't that great, and I think you'd be really actually surprised at how much English he does know. He can definitely have a conversation.
He did Jericho's podcast like a month or two ago or something.
Well, and I'm not complaining. I'm just complaining about what they have him. Maybe it's just what they have him saying on the show in itself, because I have heard him speak, and it's just shut up. That was the best use of that button. But it's just, I'm not used to it. I'm guessing it's just honestly the problem. I'm just not used to the heavy accents, especially especially Japanese. I mean, even with watching Japanese wrestling, I can't handle it.
We're not going to get no fucking giant Kevin Owens promo out of him. We don't need him trying to do a promo like Jinder. What he's doing is good.
It was tough because so Ziggler comes out, says all the shit that he says, and then he comes out and just pretty much does this, shut up, and says, you want to see me in action? He says, get a referee, but it was kind of hard to understand him saying get a referee. Then they do the little brawl, and Nakamura stands tall. Well, Ziggler powders or whatever, gets the hell out of there and says, oh no, we're not going to fight now. We're going to do it. He does it's so fucking cheesy. It's like, come on, come up with something better.
It's tired.
They're
running every tired idea through them. Just hoping
it makes Ziggler look lame. It makes the creative team it makes the promotion. It's like, this is all you could come up with, is send Ziggler out there to do this. And I put some of this on Ziggler for not saying, can we do something a little bit better or different?
I really feel like Ziggler just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
No, he's making money. That's all.
I agree.
He's doing.
I feel like he's been coasting for the past couple of years.
Once that contract is up, he's gone. He's someone that would benefit from leaving the WWE for a little bit.
I think so. And I honestly, I don't think he's not going to do the Cody Rhodes thing. He's gonna go to Hollywood, do his stand up stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see him doing indie wrestling stuff or going to Japan or Ring of Honor. That's not him.
He needs what Cody did or what McIntyre did, essentially. Is just like, you need to show us that you really do have this passion, man.
He would definitely benefit from that, but I doubt he would do anything like that. I think he's just done. So the New Day is coming. Sami Zayn gives a pep talk to his babyface teammates going into the main event.
Yeah, man. Talking like coked up Sami Zayn, man.
They're painting Sami Zayn as like this. I mean, he is a dork, and he is like this backstage.
He's Bailey,
but it's not. I don't think it's a good idea.
He's Bailey
to point this stuff out and have him be like that on the air. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Oh man. Okay, so we had the match between the Ascension and Breezango. Breezango won with the top rope leg drop. Joe, you mentioned you liked Fandango continuing to use that move.
I don't know. It's just
so.
Yeah, you got to pronounce it right if you're gonna do that. But it's so simple. But like when you watch it from the top rope, that's just fun.
As a wrestler or a former indie wrestler with an asterisk, somebody who trained to wrestle for many years and did a guillotine corner leg drop for a long time, as someone that might have a back issue or two,
they want to hurt your ass.
Doing top rope leg drops as a finisher. It's a good thing he's not on TV doing it a lot. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, it is a cool visual, though, that's for sure. And at least the rings are a little bit softer than they were back then.
I think they're just going to rock some moves until they can figure something out that they can combine.
But Breezango beat Ascension. Then I really liked the Usos promo.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The fucking 12 days shit. Doing it, what do you... how you doing style or whatever. But the way, just unique. They felt like them being them, just talking shit.
It's the twin brother syndrome where, you can finish each other's sentences, you know what each other's thinking, bounce off each other. That's, what WWE have always needed to portray on these two, and they're finally portraying it on them. It's fucking great. It's like that first I can't just fucking tell the difference between the two, but that one big promo they cut out in the crowd, fucking they really stole it then for me. And then this just furthered it. Like, I agree with you 100% on this. It was just, it was a complete shocker for them to come out. I was like, okay, another promo, cool, but it was just bounce. It's like, yes, keep going, man.
Space.
For a show full of awful talking segments, this was really good.
And it wasn't just one brother killing it; it was just both of them killing it.
Yeah.
So it was fucking so refreshing.
Yep, and not doing the same old boring scripted stuff. It looked like they were off the cuff, just being themselves. So that was awesome. Story time with Mojo.
We're good.
It was creepy. Fast forward.
The only thing I want to say about it is it's very ironic that you got Mojo in there telling basically a bullying story, and then this kid asks if he can touch the Memorial Giant Battle Royal trophy, and then Mojo acts like a bully to the kid by scaring the shit out of him, and then the kid kicks him. I guess the lesson,
solid kick.
The lesson is you have to stand up to the bully. And that's
kick him in the face,
right?
Or punch him in the dick.
Yeah, that whole thing was ridiculous and just. Whatever. Rusev, he wants an answer to his Money in the Bank title shot that he demands. He's going to come and talk to Shane next week.
I'm fucking so excited for Rusev.
Yeah, and that was good too. His little Twitter promo or whatever that.
I mean, minus that 5 to 7 seconds of just him staring at the freaking screen.
Yeah, that was a little awkward, but I was okay. Rusev pulled it off. I thought
It's Rusev. He'll always pull it off.
He's a fucking brute, so it's fitting.
It was 5 to 7 seconds of Rusev being Rusev,
well,
even though
handsome
he was
Rusev.
He was very handsome and very. He was brutish. He was he was in full Rusev mode, so that was good.
He's very tranquilo looking though. Like, God, like I almost want him and Andrade together.
Start the Los Ingobernables America.
They're just they're looking handsome.
All right, let's move on. Talk some New Japan.
Change the subject. King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I do another podcast called Strong Honor where I talk about New Japan and Ring of Honor exclusively. Taco joined me on that show last week.
I did. I wasn't wearing pants.
To talk, he joined via satellite from home, so you could have been naked for all I cared because I had the video shut off. I wasn't listening to you or watching you. But we talked about Wrestling Dontaku. That's the show, the big show that they've been building up to for the last couple of weeks. Joe, looked like you had something you were.
No, I'm just playing with my beard.
Okay. But yeah, Dontaku. We talked about that on Strong Honor, but I wanted to touch on it a little bit here because Joe, you got a chance to watch the couple of main events.
Fun stuff.
Before that, though, before we get to the main events on the show, there was a couple of other notable matches on the show. War Machine retained the IWGP Tag Titles, and Guerrillas of Destiny challenged them to a singles match afterwards. So we're going to get that at the next big show, Dominion. That's coming up in about a month on June 11th, and we'll kind of run through those matches that have been announced already once we're done talking Dontaku here, because this is like the second biggest show of the year. This is the biggest thing since Wrestle Kingdom coming up in early June. But yeah, War Machine retains. We're going to get a rematch for Guerrillas of Destiny. Evil, Sonata, and Bushi of Los Ingobernables beat Taguchi Japan for the Never six-man title, so those titles continuing to move around a lot.
What?
Then the semi-main that Joe, you got to see, Taco, you got to see it as well for at least a second time. This was my third time watching it today. Kenny Omega versus Tomohiro Ishii in a rematch from the opening round of the New Japan
It's funny,
Cup.
this is definitely my third time watching it as well, but my first time watching it in English.
Nice. So yeah, I gave this one 5 stars. Taco, we talked about it on Strong Honor, but hard and fast start from Ishii. Joe, what were your thoughts on this awesome match?
Honestly, just the dynamic between these two, the brute force, and then the fact that Kenny Omega is the one that slows it down. Usually the big guy likes to take it slow, power slam him. He's just powering through Kenny Omega left and right, and then you've got Omega taking the shots when he can at the neck. It really, that's the thing about New Japan. with WWE, you see them attack like certain injuries and stuff. Like New Japan, they know it. They have it every show. They're like, he's going after the neck. He's going after the neck. Like they focus in on that a lot, and it was awesome. Yeah, 5 stars.
And a perfect. I mean, of course you're going to work the guy's upper back and neck when you're the one-winged angel is your finishing maneuver. But
he didn't have a neck.
he doesn't have much of a neck. That's true. But I love there's the one part in the match where Kenny's dominating basically, and then he decides to get cocky and he just kind of starts smacking him around and he spits in his face and he's slapping him, and fucking Ishii just starts standing up, and then Don Callis on fucking English commentary, he's like, "Get out of there! Take a powder! Get out! Take a powder! Get out of the way!" he starts freaking out because Ishii is just like standing up to him, and then Kenny Omega he's hitting him and hitting him and hitting him, and Ishii is leaning into the forearms like, "Come on, motherfucker, hit me some more." So just that stuff. Kenny Omega's running knees. The knee strikes in this match looked so fucking good. We got some headbutts from Ishii. Most of them were pretty well worked headbutts, nothing too dangerous in the match. So this being my third time watching it, like we talked about it a little bit, on Strong Honor, but nothing too egregious.
It looked like a standard wrestling headbutt.
Yep.
Ishii fucking with that Rana.
Yes, the countering the one-winged angel early on, that the reverse Rana. Well, there were
not see that coming.
Couple of reverse Ranas in the match, so yeah. That's a perfect example of a great 5-star match where there wasn't anything in it that was like, oh my god, somebody's going to die. So that was kind of nice. Then the main event, Bad Luck Fale challenging Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Just 3.5 stars for me on this one. Some people have called it as high as 4. I can see that, but still a good match for a fucking Bad Luck Fale match.
Exactly.
And I like the video package going into it too. So
I just like the way he punches. Honestly, he just throws those fucking haymakers into the gut. Just
we talked a little bit as we were watching the match how Okada, you're not quite there with Okada yet, but I mean, how do you feel?
I'm getting there.
Joe was feeling him that whole match.
Well, and there was minus
the finish.
I was thinking more of the going back to the Ishii match. I wanted to say there was this moment where you were fucking marking out. You're like, oh shit, they're gonna put Ishii over here.
Yeah. I really thought it, and then. No, they didn't. They got me, man.
But didn't really get too many moments like that from the Bad Luck Fale match. But still a good match. Okada getting the win. Okada really cementing his work. Going through these awesome matches, the Suzuki match, the Tiger Mask W match, obviously Okada Omega from the Tokyo Dome,
the 6-star.
Yes. So after the match, Omega comes out to help Bad Luck Fale, Omega and other Bullet Club guys, and they're helping Fale to the back. And Okada grabs the mic and fucking calls Kenny out. He's like, "Hey, Kenny. You still want to challenge me for this belt or nah?" And so, if not, you can just get the hell out of my ring, basically is what he said. Kenny gets in the ring. They have the stare down. So it will be Okada versus Omega 2 at Dominion on June 11th.
Can they live up to that?
Well, that's can they live up to the 6-star legend? Have another great match. It's going to be an awesome match.
The hype alone around this match is amazing. Just building up to it and just I mean, how long was that original match? It was close to like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah, it was
up there.
40. I want to say 48.
So it's like, I mean, do they go an hour? At this point?
Well, see, that's who knows. I mean, you could do an hour time limit Broadway, and you could even bring it back. A lot of people wanted to see this rematch at the G1 special in the United States. But I mean, this was.
We're already getting a G1 in the United States.
And
Don't
we're not
be greedy.
Getting that. Yeah, we're not getting that match.
And it looks like if you look at things and how some things are being talked about, we might not get some great matches at the G1 special in the United States on July 1st and 2nd. But they are going to do title matches. They are going to do singles matches, but they just might not be marquee opponents. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but I do want to go over what's been announced for the card for Osaka on June 11th. Dominion, I'm sorry. So yeah, the main event, Okada versus Omega, IWGP
awesome
title on the line. Another rematch from Wrestle Kingdom, Tetsuya Naito from Los Ingobernables defending the IC title versus Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Awesome.
Nice.
So another big rematch from Wrestle Kingdom. So a lot of people can speculate. So where are they going? Obviously, are they going to do Omega versus Okada at Wrestle Kingdom again next year? A lot of people are speculating, are they going to do Okada versus Naito? Those are kind of your two number one guys right now in New Japan. So do you get the IC belt off of Naito? Does Okada lose to Omega here? Who knows? Do they both lose?
Do they do a lot of champion on championship matches?
I don't think
in
so.
Japan, because I mean that's again a way to spice things up a little bit. Say New Japan trying to get a new word. Put the IC title versus the heavyweight title. We don't need to go belt for belt here. We want the champions to fight. Let's see who's got the best medal.
A part of me wants to see Naito just go with that belt until that fucking thing cracks.
Well, and the story too is obviously, Tanahashi and friends, Juice Robinson, everybody else that's challenged Naito between Wrestle Kingdom and now, they're all, all of them are saying, we want to honor the championship. We want to take the championship away from Naito so we can honor it. But there's the other interesting thing in the Los Ingobernables match with Naito and the junior heavyweight champion Takahashi. Takahashi is like speaking to the IC title now, and I don't know what that means.
Didn't he just basically make him carry it out, and he didn't want to fucking carry it out too?
Right. Naito had Takahashi carry the IC title before and after the match, and Takahashi does this thing where he licks the junior heavyweight title, so he makes out with his title, and apparently he's speaking to the IC title. So that's a really interesting dynamic there. And Naito he said when he originally won the belt, which is going to break first, the belt or my disdain for the belt?
Yep.
So does he have to lose it to actually want it back? So there's so many interesting ways they can go here with the G1 stuff coming up. So anyway, back to the rest of the card for
we just got jacked right
Dominion. Where are we at here? Naito versus Tanahashi for the IC. Then, this is interesting. Minoru Suzuki is going to be defending the never openweight championship that he just won from Goto against Goto. Goto challenging in a rematch. But this is a lumberjack rules match.
Interesting.
So I have not seen a lumberjack match in New Japan before, so this will be very interesting. I imagine the Suzuki Gun shenanigans going to come into play, but Goto and other Chaos people being at ringside too could make for an interesting situation, and maybe we'll get something a little more straightforward. Of course, the Suzuki Gun faction being part of the reason why Suzuki got the title in the first place. So
like that motherfucker,
there's that.
man.
Then the IWGP tag heavyweight tag match, Hansen and Rowe War Machine defending against the Gorillas of Destiny. Talked about that. The junior tag titles on the line, Roppongi Vice, Beretta, and Rocky Romero defending against the Young Bucks.
Nice.
So the Young Bucks back in Japan for the big show. And then finally, Michael Elgin back in New Japan taking on Cody Rhodes. Cody had that match on Wrestling Dontaku versus David Finlay. Didn't do any favors for David Finlay, but won the match with Crossroads, and then after the match said he wanted somebody bigger and stronger. I want Michael Elgin to kick Cody's ass so hard at this at Dominion. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. But I imagine it might be Bullet Club shenanigans. Who knows?
Yep.
But yeah. So let's talk a little bit.
I gotta say, Beretta had a great tweet the other day. I don't know if you've seen the video of Nia Jax, Miz, Maurice, Alexa Bliss, and that stupid fucking dance or whatever. All Beretta just said was, glad I work for New Japan.
Well, and then, so yeah, it was that thing, the dancing, the tight pants song or whatever. And so yeah, heels and baby faces dancing together.
They were all heels in that video, at least.
Well, there was the Instagram photo. I think it was Titus O'Neil, too,
Yeah.
who posted it from somewhere in Europe. Fucking Braun Strowman on one side, Roman Reigns on the other, hanging out, sightseeing.
There's a few photos like that.
And I guess,
come on, fellas.
I guess Titus took it down. He got in a little trouble for that. So that's a good sign.
Right.
All right, back to New Japan. As we had the announcement of the best of the Super Juniors tournament. I got to get my blocks up here. I got to get my New Japan sounders ready to go.
Block.
So, if you're not familiar, we did talk about this on Strong Honor as well, but the match lineups for the entire tournament have been released. So starting next Wednesday, the 17th, the best of the Super Juniors tournament. This is the junior heavyweight version of the G1 Climax tournament. And so in the A block, this is who we get. The
A block.
A block is loaded. Jushin Thunder Liger, Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Hiromu Takahashi, the current champion, Taka Michinoku, Tai Chi, both those guys part of Suzuki Gun, Marty Scurll, the big surprise, and Dragon Lee. So any number of guys you can pick to come out and be the winner of that block. A lot of people want to see Will Ospreay get his chance finally. Ricochet just lost to Takahashi. Of course, the winner of the New Japan Cup will take on Takahashi at Dominion, the show we were just talking about. So we got all of these best of Super Juniors matches to build taking place before the show on the 11th, the Dominion show. Again, A block, everybody wrestles everybody, and then the one with the most points, the one with the most wins, goes on to face the winner of the B block, and then the winner of that match faces the champion at Dominion. So the B block, not quite as loaded, but still some interesting matchups. Tiger Mask, Ryusuke Taguchi, who went to the finals last year. Kushida, who has been on a losing streak lately. That's been kind of the story, is Takahashi having Kushida's number, and Kushida, the former champion, being on the downside, being losing. Yoshinobu Kanemaru, part of Suzuki Gun, El Desperado of that same faction. ACH, another big surprise for the B block and for the best of Super Juniors, and Volador Jr. Now, for me, just went through both of the blocks. I was surprised that Zack Sabre Jr. wasn't picked to be in these, but I guess
he's a busy boy.
He's going to be in the G1 Climax.
That was a big rumor for that.
So that's what the Observer is reporting. Yeah, so that's really interesting. Like, he is a skinny little guy, and to me, he's the epitome of what a junior heavyweight is. But he's going to be in the heavyweight tournament, the G1 Climax. Yes,
that's how much credit he has
at the later this summer. So I just want to talk about the first couple of shows for the best of Super Juniors, and maybe we'll go over this a little bit more next week, although we got a ton to talk about next week too. So maybe we'll go through some key matchups here. But thank you, Taco, for printing out this sheet that has the entire tournament on it. So that is really cool.
Dedication right here.
Night 1, May 17th.
Where the fuck's your paper, Joe?
The May 17th, the Night 1 show is really cool because it's all singles matches. The A and B block are going to be taking place. The main event of the show, Takahashi, current champion, taking on Dragon Lee. Now, these two have had great matches. The free match on New Japan World this week is Takahashi versus Dragon Lee from earlier this year. I can't remember the name of the show, but
come on, Tommy.
But anyway, that's the free matches from New Japan World is Takahashi versus Dragon Lee. But these two fought in CMLL and Ring of Honor, and of course a little bit on New Japan. So that's a really good first day main event. Second day main event is the big rematch from last year between Will Ospreay and Ricochet. So day 2 looks really good there. So like I said,
well, shit. Night 1 we're getting Ospreay and Scurll.
Oh, yeah, that's
fucking damn.
That's a crazy good match to look for. Ricochet and Tai Chi. That's not much of a match there. But, yeah, I'm just kind of looking through Takahashi versus Ricochet on the 21st. That's going to be pretty much all the Ricochet matches.
Yeah.
Every Ricochet match.
But, yeah, so I wanted to kind of talk about who are we looking at coming out of this as the winner. I think in the A block, since it's so competitive, I really think it could be maybe an underdog possibly coming out of it. Whereas the B block, to me, it just really Kushida really sticks out with the story that they're telling with him. But yeah, it could end up being a Taka Michinoku, could end up being a Marty Scurll. Dragon Lee would be a good
really
story.
hoping for Scurll, man. Like, I'm digging on him this year.
A lot of people are really hoping for Will Ospreay because it was there's conflicting reports out there. Some people thought Ospreay had a 1-year deal with New Japan, which would be up pretty soon. A lot of people thought it was a 2-year deal, so they're just going into the second year of his deal. But in the first year that they've had Will Ospreay, they haven't really done much with him. So, and him going for the title against Takahashi makes sense because obviously they haven't had that match yet.
Right.
I think, honestly, like, Will Ospreay's schedule is the biggest factor because you have to factor in, yes, he is signed to New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he's wrestling all over the fucking place. You hear about him everywhere.
He's signed to Ring of Honor too.
So schedule's got to be a factor. If you're not going to be just honestly appearing on our shows in our area, why would we make you champion? Why would you win?
Of the, non-Japanese wrestlers though in this tournament.
I get that, but I mean, even look at the fact that what is it? Fuck. God damn it.
Pew! Scurll?
No, I'm actually going back to Okada and Omega, but just Omega being the first Westerner to win it last year, right?
The G1.
That was G1, yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. Like, I mean, they don't have a lot of love for Westerners in general, so that's why I don't see that, whereas I can see I'm pushing for Ricochet.
Ricochet would be good, but he just lost to Takahashi at the last show. So, or not, I guess it wasn't, technically it wasn't at the bigger show. It wasn't at Dontaku. It was on one of the Road 2 shows or whatever, because they stacked up some main events. And that was
that puts him as the underdog in that, category technically.
Right. But I could see them having Ospreay win just to end up losing to Takahashi again. A lot of people want to see Ospreay with a run with the title, though. But I like the Kushida story of him just fucking running the table in the B block, kicking everybody's ass, making it to the finals. He could lose in the finals too.
Was Kushida in the Super Juniors tournament last year?
Yes.
Okay, because I remember you even saying last year he got his ass kicked right off the bat in the tournament. He was down he lost his first 2 matches or something with that nature. So again, pushing into that story of redemption for even last year's tournament. And
just him being on this losing streak now with him, Takahashi is in his head. The story is Kushida isn't wrestling his way. He's not, he's feeding into the way that Takahashi wrestles with the, attacking before the bell and going crazy and all that, whereas Kushida is usually more technical and calculated going into things. So if maybe the story, him getting back into his game and winning matches that way in the tournament could lead to him getting the rematch, possibly regaining the title. So I like that story. I'm going to fill out. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and fill my bracket out chronologically and just see where it ends up. Instead of like a lot of people when you fill out your bracket, you predict, okay, this guy's going to win, this guy's going to be runner up, and then you work your way backwards.
Right.
I might work my way forwards and just kind of see where it ends up because
just highlight.
Because how does the point system work? Is my question. What do you get for a win?
A win is 2 points.
Okay.
A draw is 1 point, and loss is obviously 0.
And then draw, obviously, each one gets a point, correct?
Right. Each one gets 1 point.
All right. I just want to factor that in when I'm drawing on this sheet and shit.
Yep. So, but my thoughts are because the A block is so competitive, it's going to be hard for one guy to really pull ahead. So you could have a guy like fucking Taka Michinoku or Tai Chi with their Suzuki gun bullshit.
Yeah.
Getting getting like 8 points, but then that gets you the win because all the other guys are beating each other because it's so much more competitive. So even fucking like Jushin Thunder Liger said this is going to be his last best of the Super Juniors. This guy's been in like 26 of them or something.
How many
crazy
did he win?
like that?
Like 2 or 3 of them?
I don't know, but I mean that could be a story too. Mm-hmm. Him making it to the finals or something. And like I said, with it being competitive, he could be a dark horse in this thing. So. Lots of fun possibilities here with the best of Super Junior stuff.
Fuck, even the champ winning it.
Right. I mean, that could be a thing too.
What are you gonna do?
Champ wins it. He could, the runner-up could challenge again at Dominion or any other guy. Maybe, and it could be, obviously the champ is probably going to lose a few matches. At least one or two have some upsets in the tournament.
Yep.
So if he, maybe it's one of those guys that beat him is going to challenge him at some point going forward. It could be at Dominion if the champion wins. It's certainly not out of the question for the champion to win the tournament, and they've really been pushing Hiromu Takahashi, so that's certainly a possibility too. Endless possibilities, and it's fun when pro wrestling is can be like broken down sports like this,
right?
So it's a completely different conversation. We're not necessarily talking, the booking is doing that, and da 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 da. What's
That's how many he's won.
So. Oh, well, you could say it for the rest of the podcast.
You were talking, Tommy. I wasn't going to talk over you.
I like how we haven't said the number yet. Good, about time.
We now throw to Joe for breaking news on Wrestling Talk.
Jushin Thunder Liger has won 3 Super Juniors tournaments. Thank you.
Let's change the subject. Let's talk some NXT.
Change the subject.
Give me a paper.
No soundbite for NXT, huh?
All I have is the... I got the theme.
NXT.
I got the old theme. Next week, that will be the sound. Taco, just tweet that.
Well, you started the sound clip on that, so Taco, I'm going to need you to do that again without the clip in the background. Otherwise, it's just not going to sound right.
All right, let's try it again. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
NXT. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-bum.
See, that's all we need.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Now we're set for weeks to years to come.
All right, fun show last week. Killian Dane took on Danny Burch, got the win with the One-Winged Angel, or I guess it's called the Ulcer Plantation. Fun little match for that. I noted not only is Killian Dane stealing the One-Wing Angel from Kenny Omega, he has also stole Hanson from War Machine's look. With I'm giving a hard time here, but I'm just having a little fun with it. Then we had a video from the Velveteen Dream. I can't remember his name now.
Patrick Clark.
Patrick Clark, yes. I don't know where you at on this Patrick Clark business here.
I gotta see the guy wrestle.
I mean, we've had a couple of matches where he's done the Prince gimmick or whatever. It's just they taking away the name Patrick Clark and just calling him Velveteen.
Oh God,
Dream.
I hope so. Sounds like an orgasm.
The G1 Velveteen Dream.
Yikes! Hold on, where is it here? Here we go. Giant erection. Heavy Machinery took on the Geek Squad.
Yeah, like 2 12-year-olds.
Yeah, they couldn't find any smaller guys that would be able to legally wrestle on television. Tucker Knight and Otis Dojovic make a short work out of these guys. They cut a Stakes and Weights promo afterwards.
Stakes and weights. Wait.
They call out the Authors of Pain. What was the other thing what's the little catchphrase that he does?
Boom shakaloo.
So these guys are fun. I enjoy Heavy Machinery.
Again, I wanted to see how it played out, but once the fact that they're getting mic time for one, and then on their own, by the way, without some kind of speaking piece, and just having fun with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to get to see some monsters fight each other.
Yeah. DIY do a little response promo in the back saying, hey, wait a minute here, Heavy Machinery. The line starts behind us. So I liked the DIY response there. Then we had Kona Reeves versus Hideo Itami. Rude gives Kona Reeves a little pep talk behind the scenes before the match. Didn't seem to help much. The Rock's cousin loses to the hesitation drop kick and the go to sleep, and Itami kicks hard during the match. But fun little return for Hideo Itami to in-ring action.
And he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, thank God. Then Roderick Strong, the story of Roderick Strong Part 2. Talked about how he was engaged to one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA, Marina Schaefer, is that or Shafir?
Schaefer, yeah, probably.
Something like that.
I just want to put this out there. My wife doesn't even watch wrestling or care about wrestling, and she was just completely disgusted with this whole thing.
Disgusted?
She just hates on any kind of love story, anything with babies. And we're just sitting there just going, oh, God, I kind of want this to be over.
I like this. I thought last week's was better, but I like that they're telling us who he is, who is this guy, what's his deal, what's his
and again, he worked his ass off to get where he is, basically with no training, wrestling training at all, just jumped into the scene, at least from that story that we heard. And look at him. I mean, again, he ran the table on Ring of Honor for how many years?
Right, and that was nice how they talked about how he's a pure wrestler, was in Ring of Honor for 13 years. They had some nice pictures from Ring of Honor.
I even like that he even pointed out, too, he's like, I could have stayed comfortable in Ring of Honor, and but that's not why I'm here. I did my business there, and it's time for me to move on, take new challenges. So it's like, yeah, dude, that's, those are the people that love the sport and, bring out the best in it.
Yep. Then Bobby Roode tells Regal in the back, we have to protect my face. I'm the face of NXT. Regal says we're going to make a number one contenders match, Roderick Strong versus Hideo Itami, for this week on the show. So that'll be a fun one to look forward to. It feels like they've already kind of set up the Itami thing, but it's an interesting story.
I would take Roderick.
Yeah, and all signs are kind of thinking we're going to get kind of the same thing that's happening in the women's side here. People have speculated that, Bobby Roode could go out and interfere. They make it a 3-way match, so that's a possibility. But
Asuka did it so much more badass.
Well, let's talk about the women's battle royal. We had some new faces in there, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed this whole thing. It really felt like women being competitive, trying to win a match. I enjoyed it.
If I had one qualm, I'd say the fact that there wasn't they only have the mini commercials on the network, but not even one single elimination before that break. Kind of just it kind of slowed it down for me at the beginning, but then you came back and there was already an elimination, so it got going.
We had an appearance from they called her Rachel Evers when it's Rachel Ellering, Paul Ellering's daughter. Candice LeRae was there as Candice. Daria was in the match. Ember Moon, of course. Aliyah, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Nikki Cross, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan in the mix. So it came down to who? It was Ember Moon,
Ruby
Riott,
Cross.
and Nikki Cross.
Yep.
Asuka comes out. DQs the whole thing, makes a mess.
When did a battle royal have disqualification
That's
added
where
to
I was
it?
at
That
when I
was so.
I'm glad. I'm like, thank you. Let's have some fucking rules.
Right.
Let's not have every match be fucking.
This match, anything goes.
So I enjoyed the fact that it was like, okay, this is what's happening.
It was just a shocker because it's
It
like,
was different.
how many times do we fucking see interference in something like this, and now it matters?
Well, I think in the past what they've done is somebody gets eliminated and bad, I'm going to come back and fuck around. So they were in the match, but then they just come back in the match. Whereas this was somebody that was never in the match and came out and interfered.
And destroyed all three of them.
Right. Which is, it's bullshit, but yeah. I don't like that they're going to go to a 4-way. It looks like Ember Moon is selling a worked injury in the thing. So
I was actually, if I remember,
she's out.
She's out of the match.
She's officially out.
I know she's out of the match, but I'm thinking the whole thing is a work.
Sure.
Because this was taped weeks ago, and the news of her being injured just coming out now, and it was an obvious.
Yeah.
It was an angle on the show. They were
He's
showing
using that common sense.
showing her getting beat up. So the fact that the news just coming out after it aired, it tells me it's probably a work, which is fine because it keeps Ember Moon and Asuka apart for a big rematch.
Sure.
They could save that one for SummerSlam and continue to build Asuka, but from now to then, for me, that'd be fine. They could do a Nikki Cross thing. They could do a Ruby Riott thing. But I like the Ember Moon story, too. The fact that Ember Moon it looked like she had Asuka beat. All she had to do was hit the Eclipse. Asuka panics, shoves the ref into the ropes, knocks Ember Moon off the thing, and that led to Asuka getting the victory.
Yep.
So, was that one a DQ even? Or no, that was Asuka got the win after knocking her off with the ref or whatever. So, and that's the story there. So I like that.
You sticking to it?
I'm sticking to it. All right. I think we're going to call it a show. I think that was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll save the Ring of Honor talk for Strong Honor, and we'll kind of go from there. So A good show this week. So yeah, like I said, I do another podcast called Strong Honor. I'll talk Ring of Honor. Yeah,
Cheating son of a bitch.
I'll talk Ring of Honor on there. We'll talk a little bit more Best of Super Juniors. We'll talk about Lionsgate Project 5, where the Young Lions had a bunch of matches on New Japan World. Not a great show, but there's some
fun,
interesting little points.
I love those hard camera shows,
and I like watching the Young Lions progress. We had a new one debut on there. We had a dinosaur wrestling. So check out Strong Honor on thefanspodcast.com for that. Follow me on Twitter at Tommy Stryker with a Y. Follow the show on Twitter at BPW Podcast. I'm not much of a tweeter. I retweet a lot of shit, but it's a place where you can join the conversation. Myself, Taco, and Joe are throwing stuff back and forth on Twitter, and you can engage with us and talk about this show, talk about wrestling, and yeah, it's just a way to connect with us as a show and the hosts. Yeah.
Google gobble, one of us.
Go to bestprowrestlingpodcast.com for all the social media links, etc., and back episodes, everything else. Email the show, bestprowrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. And what else? That's it. Taco, where can people find your penis?
Ah, shit. Joe's mouth. You can catch me on Twitter, Snapchat at HGREVTaco.
And you can follow me at Joe BPWP. Just think Joe, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast.
That's been the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. See you later. Bye.
Peace.
I think you're a moron. Hey, that's funny. You think that's funny? It's not. Shut up. Okay. I don't like you.
I can wrestle.
I am smitten.
He's got a kick.
I'm gonna throw up.
I feel like I'm gonna vomit.